For the last couple years, the whole conversation around AI has been about demos and disruption. But for leaders, the real question has always been about something more: durable value. And that's the shift we're seeing right now. The era of just experimenting is coming to a close, and the era of AI as infrastructure, well, that has truly begun. The time for those vibe-based demos and flashy proofs of concept is giving way to something much, much more significant. We're talking about disciplined, embedded, and genuinely value-driven AI systems. This transition is happening as we speak, and we're projecting 2026 as the real inflection point. This shift completely redefines what success even looks like. We're moving away from these siloed, hype-driven projects and into embedded systems that are measured by one thing: return on investment. The kind of chaotic sprint of experimentation is maturing into the disciplined marathon of building core infrastructure. By 2026, AI is going to become pretty much invisible infrastructure, just like the internet did. Think about it. Businesses stopped having internet strategies when the web just became fundamental to every single operation. The exact same thing is happening with AI. It's simply going to be how business gets done. So to really understand this massive shift, we're going to break it down and look at 6 key areas: the business drivers, the impact on the workforce, the changing policies, the technical limits, and then finally, a look at what we can expect next. The main reason for this whole transition is actually pretty simple. There is now undeniable proof of value. The conversation in boardrooms has finally moved past if AI can deliver to how do we scale what we already know works. And this right here just brilliantly illustrates the scale of that value. You have companies like Parcha using AI agents to shrink these complex customer due diligence workflows in financial services from 3 months down to just 5 minutes. This isn't some small incremental improvement. It's a fundamental reinvention of the business process. Now, this is all happening through something we call process orchestration. It's about moving beyond simple chatbots and into managing these complex, multi-stage workflows. And it's not a future thing. Already, more than half of organizations are deploying AI agents for this exact purpose, embedding AI right into the core of their operations. So, as AI becomes this core infrastructure, it starts to create 2 really powerful forces. 1, it pushes the absolute frontier of what's technically possible, and 2, it completely reshapes the nature of human work. Frontier labs like OpenAI are drawing a really clear parallel to the internet. Just like its true impact was underestimated at first, the next wave of powerful AI models is seen as a catalyst for these profound structural changes in how we all work and create value. This creates a really fascinating new dynamic for the workforce. A kind of equilibrium is emerging where AI acts as a generalist, handling all the execution and routine workflows. And what that does is it elevates human workers to become specialists, focusing on things like judgment, strategy, and complex problem solving. And look, this isn't just a theory. The data actually confirms it. In places where AI is deployed, employees are already shifting their focus to these higher value activities. 70% are spending more time on developing new skills, 66% on strategic work, and 60% on relationship building. AI is truly augmenting human potential, not just automating away tasks. Okay, so if AI is going to become infrastructure, it obviously can't operate in a vacuum. The maturation of the technology itself demands that policy, ethics, and governance mature right alongside it. A huge signal of this is the EU's AI Act. It's the world's first comprehensive law for regulating artificial intelligence. By setting up a risk-based framework, it's treating AI not as some niche technology, but as a systemic part of our economy and society that needs clear rules of the road. But we're seeing a real divergence in regulatory philosophy. The EU is going for this comprehensive, one-size-fits-all approach, while the US is taking a more targeted, sector-by-sector path. For any global company, navigating this fragmented landscape is going to be a huge strategic challenge. But policy alone can't solve a deeper, more technical problem: the integrity of the data that actually powers these models. With research showing that a staggering 70% of common datasets have inadequate licensing and that bad correlations are just an inherent property of big data, the very foundation of modern AI is really facing a governance crisis. This brings us to a really critical reality check. If we want to build credible, sustainable AI infrastructure, we have to be honest about the real-world physical and technical constraints the industry is now running up against. Right. The era of just build a bigger model is officially over. As researchers have pointed out, we're hitting a wall of diminishing returns. Simply throwing more and more compute at the problem is no longer a viable long-term strategy. It's just not.
And this chart, wow, it just brilliantly illustrates why. The energy consumption of today's biggest models is absolutely staggering. We're talking gigawatts, while the human brain, our brain, operates on just 20 watts. This incredible inefficiency is both an economic and an environmental dead end. A paradigm shift isn't just an option, it's an absolute necessity. So the path forward is clear. We need smarter design. The new imperative for frontier AI development is all about efficiency over raw size and having innovative architectures instead of just piling on more parameters. So given all these shifts in business, in the workforce, in policy, and in the tech itself, where are we headed? Now, what follows are expert predictions based on the current trajectories to help leaders like you prepare for the AI landscape of 2026 and beyond.
We really see 4 major trends defining this next phase. First, a big shift to agent-first interfaces, where AI proactively manages our work. Second, we're going to have to grapple with synthetic data and the real challenge of models being trained on AI-generated content. Third is the rise of sovereign AI, as nations invest heavily to control their own digital futures. And finally, a boom in specialized hardware, custom chips designed specifically for efficient AI. You know, maybe the best way to understand this moment is with a historical parallel. AI has been our steam engine, a powerful, truly revolutionary new capability. But 2026 is about building the railway. It's the disciplined, hard work of creating the infrastructure that will actually reshape the entire economic landscape. Success in this new era is going to rest on 3 pillars: discipline, governance, and what we call systems thinking. And frankly, this is the philosophy that drives our work, building the agentic, secure, and integrated enterprise solutions that are going to form the very bedrock of this new infrastructure. And this brings us to the final critical question that every leader needs to be asking right now. As we move from the demos of 2024 to the infrastructure of 2026, you have to ask, is your organization's AI strategy just built for a moment of experimentation, or is it truly built to last?